A Tale of a Muslim Girl and Her Infidel Lover. A novel by Dr. A. Ahmed. This is an epic story which resonates with love, resilience, courage, and sacrifice. Before we dive into the tapestry of the story, I would like to inform the reader that this novel is narrated in 3 books. Book 1. The beginning of forbidden love between a university Muslim student and her infidel professor. Copyrights. All rights are reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means without the prior written permission of the author, except by a reviewer, who may quote brief paragraphs for a review to be printed in a public newspaper, general magazine, school journal, or university article. This novel is a work of fiction, but the entire story is based on a real life of a Muslim girl in Sudan. Therefore, all names, characters, places, and events are either the product of the author's imagination or used literary. Any resemblance to real persons, living or dead, events, or places is purely coincidental. Chapter 1. When a Muslim girl spreads her legs and steps out of her house all alone. It is a matter of great honor and immense pride to narrate the story of the Muslim girl and her infidel lover. Her story was told by many people, and in various narrations. No one ever doubted the story, but many people disagreed with its events. Having investigated very carefully many versions of the story, I believe that I could present another narration of it, which would enable the reader to come closer to real events. Her story is unique because it has never happened before or is likely to happen again. In a society where the honor of the family is located between the legs of the woman, it is a big shame and extremely dangerous to speak about someone's mother. Therefore, we have to avoid talking about her mother and introduce her father. Her father, Haj Taha Al-Amin, was graduated from Al-Azhar Al-Sharif University in Cairo, Egypt. Shortly after his return to Sudan, he was appointed the imam of the biggest mosque in the city of Al-Gadarif. No one in that city has more knowledge in religious matters than Haj Taha. He spent 13 years studying the sciences of Islam in that prestigious university. When he returned to his country, he brought with him 2 bachelor's certificates and double master's degrees in Islamic studies, and a doctorate in Sharia from the same university. Along with those 5 honorable university degrees, Haj Taha brought with him a library of books that is exceedingly difficult to get in Sudan. His neighbors who happened to visit his house and saw those huge volumes said it might take a person 2 decades of time to read half of them. Haj Taha Al-Amin is belonging to the tribe of Al-Danagla in Sudan, which traced its family's root to the ancient great Nubian Cushitic king, Turaga, known in the Bible as Turaka, king of Ethiopia. Notwithstanding, for some religious purpose and ethnic purification, the same Sudanese African tribe is miraculously also connected to some Arab ancestor and somehow transformed into an Arab tribe. Today, it is believed that this tribe is one of the 3 pure Arabic tribes in Sudan. They are namely Al-Jaliya, Al-Shajia, and Al-Danagla. Among all Al-Danagla families, Haj Taha's family is considered to have been ordained by Allah to rule the country of Sudan forever. Their great ancestor claimed to be the awaited Al-Mahdi, who is called Muhammad Al-Mahdi Al-Muntazir, who was foretold by the Prophet Muhammad that he shall come at the end time and prepare the way for the second return of Christ. Although that great ancestor could not fulfill the prophecy of the Prophet and died of typhus, still his claim remained unchallenged and undisputed until today. He was able to kick temporarily the British people out of Sudan, but shortly after his death they returned, destroyed his Ahmadiyya Caliphate, and killed his first caliph Abdullah al-Taishi. Every now and then, a military general would come and overthrow this family from their throne through coup d'état. Mostly this general would be from the same tribe. Again, the people of Sudan would revolt against the military general, overthrow him, and return the rule to the royal family. This cat and mouse game is going on from the year 1956, since the time Sudan had achieved its independence from the British Crown. The Muslim girl is the only child that Hajj Taha had begotten, although he married many wives. In the Arab world, it is a matter of immense pride for the man to have a male boy as his firstborn. Even so, when Hajj Taha came to know that his wife delivered a baby girl, he did not complain but gave thanks to God. She is the daughter of his first wife that he married even though she is 15 years older than him. It is not a widespread practice among the Sudanese Arabs for a man to marry a girl even if she is 1 year older than him. The Arab man prefers to marry a girl that is many years younger than him. No one knows exactly why Hajj Taha al-Amin had decided to marry a woman that much older than him, although some people guessed because of her wealth. All his other women were already married and divorced before he had married them except for one. That one became his beloved and favored wife even though she is 24 years younger than him. She is even younger than his daughter. We will not waste our time on the stories of the beloved wife and the other wives and tell who she is, why she is so favored, who they are, and why none of them had begotten a child. We must leave the wives aside and go straight to our story of the daughter of Hajj Taha. Her name is Ibtihal, which means supplication and humble prayer to God. Although she is a girl, her father still loves her, and he treats her like a boy. She was strictly brought up inside some red boundaries. She had been taught all the values of her Islamic religion and the laws of her royal family. By the way, besides religious laws and Arabic values, the royal family in Sudan has its own values. Just to mention a few of those special values. 1. No girl would be given in marriage to a man who isn't from the royal family. 2. No girl is allowed to fall in love with a man even if that person happened to be one of the royal family members. And 3. No girl is permitted to choose her life partner. There are many more moral laws and regulations in the royal family, and most of them have to do with women. The royal family has an extremely strict dress code that all its women, young and old, should follow. Every woman must put on the Islamic dress known as the abaya and hijab. She should cover her entire body from head to foot. Only a small part of her face could be seen. The girl that possesses a beautiful face sometimes is ordered to put on a niqab instead of a hijab. When a Muslim girl put on the niqab, nothing could be seen of her. When she walks in the streets, she would be like a moving tent. Children might mistake her for a ghost at night. In the royal family, if a girl has a good bodily shape, she might be forbidden from any public appearance. If neither hijab nor niqab would be able to hide her bodily sexual attraction, such a girl would be subjected to solitary confinement in her father's house, and she would only be released to go to her husband's house when she gets married or her grave when she dies. A girl like this is a problem for her family, and for that reason her father will try to give her in marriage to a man as soon as possible. She is considered a problem because she might cause close members of the royal family to fall into the sin of adultery, incest, or the crime of rape. In that society, if any girl brings disgrace to her family by sleeping with a man before marriage, or becomes pregnant with an illegitimate baby, her own parents will put her to death. This is known as honor killing, and no one would be charged or put to death for performing it. So far, no girl in the royal family has ever stepped out of those red boundaries and brought shame to her family. Within many red lines, Ibtihal was born and brought up. Luckily, she is not counted among those girls that possessed either an extremely beautiful face or a tempting body. If we measure her beauty according to the Western standard, she is having remarkable beauty, but if we look at her from the Arab-African perspective, she is having an average beauty. The Arab husband or the African man would like to measure the beauty of the girl through her body. A girl that possesses big buttocks and highly raised up and spear-like breasts is considered in the Arab nation and African world to be extremely attractive, sexy, and beautiful. Ibtihal might have been like any other girl of the royal family, and her story might never have been known to the outside world if not for certain extraordinary events that happened in her life. As a matter of fact, many of the narrators of her story preferred to begin at this stage. Nothing unusual occurred in her life until she completed grade 12. Ibtihal is an exceptionally intelligent and extremely brilliant student at school. When she did the higher secondary school examination, she was counted among the first 3 students who scored the highest marks in the entire country. In Sudan, all the students of grade 12 must solve the same examination papers that had been prepared by the Ministry of Education in the capital city. Then those written papers would be collected and sent to Khartoum to be examined by highly qualified examiners. When all those processes are done, then the results will be announced through newspapers, radio stations, and television channels. When Ibtihal did the grade 12 examination, she scored the highest marks in the entire country. 2 other students scored the same marks as hers. All those 3 students happened to be girls. Ibtihal is then qualified to get admission to the only medical college in the country. The members of the royal family will not allow their girls to go to another city and live by themselves without their parents. Ibtihal wanted to go to the capital city and study at the only university in Sudan. Her father acquiesced to her demand. Haj Taha has been strongly opposed by his brothers and relatives when he agreed for his daughter to go to the capital city and join the medical college. One of Ibtihal's uncles divorced his wife because of this serious matter. However, this divorce issue needed to be explained, otherwise, the matter may get mixed up for the reader because there is no relation seemingly between the wife's divorce and Ibtihal's joining the university. In other words, what is the uncle's wife's mistake that resulted in her divorce? Her oldest uncle swore that he would divorce his wife if Ibtihal has spread out her 2 legs and stepped out of her father's house and traveled to the big city and lived by herself without a husband or a male muharram from the royal family. A muharram is a male relative that the girl cannot marry, such as her father or brother. When Haj Taha refused to listen to his brothers and relatives and allowed his daughter to go to Khartoum, the older brother's wife was automatically divorced. This is quite widespread practice in Sudan, and many women got divorced for silly reasons. If someone wants to stop something occurring in his family, he will threaten to divorce his wife if he is a man, and if she is a woman will threaten to cut one of her breasts. Many relatives, males and females, predicted that Haj Taha al-Amin's daughter is going to disgrace the name of the royal family and bring great shame to her father. Whether that prophecy would come true or not, we will leave that matter to the future to prove or disprove it. Ibtihal is not only intelligent and brilliant at school but at home. She read and understood all the books that her father brought with him when he returned from Al-Azhar al-Sharif University. She read the most famous Islamic books such as the biography of the Prophet Muhammad that written by Al-Tabari and Ibn Hisham, and the commentaries of the Quran by Ibn Kathir and Al-Qurtubi. She also read the collections of the Prophet Muhammad's sayings and deeds, which are known as hadiths, that were collected in Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. Additionally, she read the writings of the founders of the 4 Islamic Sharia schools, Malik, Abu Hanifa, Hanbal, and Shafi. Moreover, she went through most of the writings of the greatest Islamic scholar, Abu Hamid al-Ghazali. This outstanding scholar and Islamic philosopher and jurist had written over 1,000 books in the sciences of Islam. For that reason, he is known as the defender of Islam. His most widely read book is his masterpiece, The Revival of Religious Sciences. He supposedly defended Islam against the attacks of Muslim philosophers such as Averroes and Avicenna. In my opinion, al-Ghazali did huge damage to the Islamic mentality, and he made philosophy a taboo to Muslims until today. Ibtihal has also a sharp photographic memory. Consequently, she memorized the entire book of the Quran and can recite it from cover to cover in its 7 letters readings. Therefore, her father nicknamed her Al-Hamra after the name of the beloved wife of the Prophet Muhammad, Aisha. Aisha is reputed for her ability to remember many sayings and recollect several deeds of her husband. The beloved wife Aisha narrated 1,400 hadiths of the Prophet Muhammad. Many times, Ibtihal's father consulted her in difficult religious and legal matters of the Sharia law, and found her to be more understanding than him. He used to tell her that if she is a boy, she would have become the greatest Muslim scholar who ever lived after the Prophet. Haj Taha knew that, as a woman, his daughter, according to Sharia law, is not allowed to become a Muslim scholar, imama, khalifa, or leader. For that reason, he allowed her to join the university. He knew and understood that his daughter is a genius, and because of that, he did not want such a great mind to be wasted at sitting idly at home. Before she left home, her father made her place her right hand on the Holy Quran and promised that she will always pray 5 times each day, she will recite the Quran daily, and she will stay away from the wrong crowd. Besides that, her father gave her an extensive list of what she is supposed to do and not to do. The most crucial condition of those restrictions is that she must never fall in love with a man, whether that person her classmate or someone else. Ibtihal swore by her Holy Quran and the honor of her royal family that she will not bring to her father and royal family any disgrace or shame. Chapter 2. Ibtihal at the University of Khartoum. The 4 years of study for Ibtihal at Khartoum University have nothing unusual to refer to except a few minor happenings. To continue with the sequences of the story, we will try to summarize those 4 years in one single chapter, and move as quickly as possible to the next chapter where the real drama in her life began. Ibtihal's first year at the university went by quite well. Her first problem began when she joined the Republicans movement headed by the famous Muslim scholar Mahmud Muhammad Taha. For the first time, she felt she is stepping out of the boundary set by her beloved father. Her father had made her swear by the Quran and the honor of her royal family that she would neither join certain Islamic groups, which he mentioned by names, nor would she fall in love with a man. Among those groups that her father mentioned, the Muslim Republicans came at the top of the forbidden list. To keep her promise to her father, Ibtihal hid her affiliation with the group and pretended to be just interested in knowing more about its teachings. In a few months, she read all the books that had been written by the group founder. She even attended secretly some of the lectures of Mahmud Muhammad Taha. Although she is so fascinated by the ideas of Taha, she quickly realized that his teachings about women stood in sharp contradiction with the Quran and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. Mahmud Muhammad Taha gave women equal rights to men, and that did not correspond to the teachings of Islam. Taha divided the teachings of the Quran into the Maccan period and the Medinan period. Then, for a reason that did not convince Ibtihal, Taha claimed that somehow he received divine guidance, which enabled him to abrogate the later verses of the Quran and hold to the abrogated verses. Ibtihal appreciated the brilliant discovery that Taha made when he understood that all the verses and the teachings of the Quran that allowed the men to marry 4 wives, beat his wife, marry an underage girl, inherit double the share of the woman, and his witness at court equaled the witnesses of 2 women, were revealed to the Prophet when he was in Medina city. Those and many more teachings that seemed to be misogynistic belonged to the Medinan period. Taha claimed that the teachings of the Medinan period were meant for the Muslim society of the 7th century, and the teachings of the Makkah period are meant for the Muslims of the 20th century. On whose authority did Taha abrogate or nullify the legal power of the Medinan verses, and uphold the abrogated verses of the Makkah city period? No one among the Muslim Republicans at the Khartoum University could be able to answer the question of Ibtihal or convince her about the claim that Taha received divine guidance to do so. As a matter of fact, Islam teaches that Muhammad was the last and the seal of the prophets. Anyone who claimed to be a prophet after Muhammad was considered as a false prophet and put to death. Being aware of the danger of claiming to be a prophet, Taha came up with something called Kifa. He claimed that he did not receive a prophecy from God, but he got his knowledge from Allah through Kifa or struggling. To cut a long story short, Mahmud Muhammad Taha finally was accused of apostasy, and therefore he was arrested, tried, and executed. He was hanged to death in the prison of Khobar in 1983 in Khartoum city. After the death of Taha, his followers have remained inactive to this day. It seemed as if his ideas died with him on that fateful day. Among the other groups that Ibtihal's father warned her about is the extreme group of the Muslim Brotherhood. Neither their teachings nor their violence could attract her. She even hated to associate with their women. Yet, another group of the student movements whose teachings Ibtihal did not admire is the Communist Party. That leftist group has openly rejected the teachings of the Quran and the hadiths of the Prophet Muhammad. One last group that Ibtihal learned about and abhorred is a group of intelligent students who called themselves secularists. Those students change their affiliations and views according to the circumstances. They hold two contradictory beliefs. They want to adopt all Western secular ideas, and at the same time hold the Islamic beliefs. The only thing that they opposed is the implementation of the Sharia in Sudan. Therefore, if you ask them why they do not want Islamic rule in Sudan, they will tell you that it is not applicable in our modern time. The smart girl Ibtihal believes that the person should either clearly accept Islamic law or openly reject it along with his faith. She does not like the person to say, "I am a Muslim," and at the same time say, "The Islamic Sharia law is not suitable for our modern time." Many other small movements, the daughter of Hajj Taha read about them, but none of them attracted her. Chapter 3. The Intruding Lover. For years past at the medical college while the daughter of Hajj Taha was studying at the Khartoum University. During those years Ibtihal did very well in her medical studies. During this period, she followed strictly the advice of her father and kept her promise by not joining any student movement or falling in love with any man. Many male students tried to win her heart, but she refused them all. The real trouble in her life occurred during her final year at the university. There was just 1 year left before she would graduate and return to her family as the first doctor in her city. In fact, Ibtihal spent most of her 5th and final year in a hospital doing her training. During this year, the medical students were sent regularly to a group of 10 or 15 to a hospital to practice their new profession. They spent their time at the hospital with a senior specialist doctor. Ibtihal was sent to one of the biggest hospitals in the country. Under the guidance of a senior doctor, she and 14 other students began their year of training. They said love never takes permission to enter our hearts, or gives us the right to decide to accept it or reject it. For 4 years, Ibtihal neither believed in love nor expected that love could force itself into her heart. When love assaulted her and forcibly made its entry, Ibtihal fought vehemently against her emotions, and she did not know that that was precisely what made love grow more stubborn and made its grip stronger on her heart. In the beginning, she did everything she could to prevent herself from falling into the snare of love, but she could not succeed. When she could not resist it any longer, Ibtihal yielded to it. She felt like a person that had been possessed by a supernatural power. Well, some of the narrators of her story said someone cast spells on her, and she became possessed by an evil spirit. As for who that person was who bewitched her, most of the narrators said he was the same man whom she fell madly in love with him. Whether the story of the evil spirit was true or not, that was hard to tell. At this stage, her life was turned upside down, and she could no more have control over it. It seemed as if overnight she suddenly changed into another person. At this time, Ibtihal cancelled her mind and allowed her heart to take over and lead her into the unknown destiny. To retrace the story from the beginning, Ibtihal was assigned as a trainee under a senior doctor. She had to regularly go 3 days a week to the hospital where that doctor was training his medical students. He was amazed by the intelligence of Ibtihal and fascinated by her personality. She also admired his person and the way he performed his job. He was counted among the best doctors in the country. Before she met him, Ibtihal heard about him and even read some of the books that he wrote in the field of medicine. She wondered how such a young doctor was able to climb to such height in such an abbreviated time. Shortly after she met him, she realized that he loved her too. For a few weeks, the daughter of Hajj Taha resisted his love and fought against her emotions. The more she resisted, the more she fell into the snare of his love. She knew nothing about that doctor except his name and work. His name was Samir because everyone around him was calling him Dr. Samir. She did not know where he lived, whether he was married or not, whether he has a girlfriend, a fiancé, etc. Likewise, Dr. Samir knew nothing about Ibtihal except her name. Even so, Ibtihal and Dr. Samir fell in love with each other. For some time, both tried to hide their feelings from one another. Ibtihal spent hours at night in her room at the university dormitory thinking about Dr. Samir and trying to put more meanings into his words. She found him to be a polite man. He was a handsome and highly intelligent person. Somehow, she convinced herself that he is an unmarried man. She concluded that a decent man like Dr. Samir would not likely cheat on his wife by falling in love with one of his medical trainees. She also convinced herself that she is not committing a crime by falling in love with him. If she can hide her love from her father and family, there will be no problem. She thought Dr. Samir will come to her city and meet her father. He will tell her father, "I saw your daughter when she came to practice in the hospital where I was working as her trainer, and I liked her character and excellent performance. For that reason, I have decided to betroth her as life partner." When her father will question her about Dr. Samir, she would tell him that she met him during her training, but she did not know that he liked her and wanted to marry her. Ibtihal knew that her father trusted her, and hence he would believe everything she tells him. Everything so far looked normal and simple for Ibtihal. She convinced herself that love is good if it doesn't lead to disgrace or betrayal of trust. Even there is nothing in the teachings of the Quran or the hadiths of the Prophet that say love is a sin or crime. The Prophet Muhammad himself fell in love with his wives, especially his beloved wife, Aisha. Problem solved. Having come to such a conclusion, Ibtihal felt it was okay to fall in love with a handsome and intelligent man like Dr. Samir before marriage and wait for the day in which she and her lover would be united into a lawful matrimonial relationship. Therefore, she gave her heart all freedom to enjoy such a wonderful feeling. Chapter 4. The Work Offer. Every time the daughter of Hajj Taha meets Dr. Samir, her love for him is growing stronger, and she is more convinced of his love for her. What bothered her and made her so worried is his silence. Why didn't he tell her that he loves her? She knows that the hospital is not the appropriate place to reveal someone's feelings. But then, why he did not ask her to meet him somewhere out of the hospital? She knew and understood that her lover is aware that she loves him, and she even encouraged his love. Ibtihal became more troubled when she realized that she has only a few months left to finish her training in that hospital. Some doubt entered her mind, and she determined to clear it no matter what would happen. She wanted to find out whether Dr. Samir is married or had another girl in his life. She waited patiently for the moment to ask him that question. She knew in the hospital she would not get a chance to talk to him alone. She thought of writing a letter to him, but she felt shy to do so. Ibtihal is left with no choice except to talk to someone who might tell her something about Dr. Samir's life. She talked to a nurse who told her little about him. Through her, she learned that he is not married. More than that, the nurse told her nothing about him. Despite that, such information brought joy to Ibtihal until people around her had noticed it. By this time, most of her colleagues knew that she is in love with Dr. Samir. Some of them envied her love affair with the handsome doctor and some liked it. But no one dared to talk to her about it. Since that day, Ibtihal looked for an opportunity to talk to her lover. The awaited-for moment came when Dr. Samir requested her to come to his office because he wanted to consult her about something especially important. She counted the minutes one by one until the longed-for time came. The following scene took place in his office. Dr. Samir is sitting in a comfortable armchair, and Ibtihal is standing in front of his huge table like a bride waiting for her groom to take her into his arms and kiss her lips. "Miss Ibtihal," said Dr. Samir softly and politely, "will you please sit?" As a student following the instruction of her teacher, Ibtihal sat on a chair and waited for him to reveal his deep love for her and tell her when he would come to ask her hand in lawful marriage from her father. That was exactly what she expected to hear, and nothing more. She thought he would reveal his love, but when he spoke, he really took the wind out of her sails. "The reason that led me to request you to come and meet me here is to discuss your future employment. Unless you have already made up your mind, our hospital is offering you a job. This decision has been made collectively by a group of doctors who saw your work and how you were able to master the profession in such a fleeting time. I am one of those doctors who want you to work here. I guess this is a golden opportunity, and you must not turn it down. Our hospital is the best and biggest hospital in the country, and that." Before he finished his last sentence, Dr. Samir saw a few tears fall on the beautiful cheeks of Ibtihal. He paused and looked expectantly at her. When she did not say anything, he continued to say, "Have I said anything that upset you?" "No," said Ibtihal in a sad voice. "Well, this is what I have called you for, and please give it good thinking before you decide upon refusing it." Ibtihal worried that her tears might betray her further, therefore she stood and left the office without uttering a word. Back in her room at the university, all alone, Ibtihal cried out the pain that accumulated in her heart and began to eat inside her like cancer. How much she longed for that moment when she and he would be alone and reveal their deep love for each other. Instead of talking to her as a lover, he talked to her as a boss. Instead of seizing the opportunity and telling her when he is going to come and propose to her, he offered her a job. Ibtihal also blamed herself for being so timid in front of him. But then, how could a girl in that conservative society dare to tell a man that she loves him or dare to betroth herself to him? Regarding the offer he talked about, the daughter of Haj Taha had rejected it at the very moment she heard it. How can she tell her father that she is going to stay in Khartoum alone and work in a hospital? That night, after many hours of crying, Ibtihal has decided to do something that no girl ever did before her in her family or in her country. She has determined to write a letter to her lover, reveal her love for him, and tell him what he must do to marry her. Ibtihal knew that Dr. Samir and his love have become everything in her life. She thought she may never love another man more than him. She could not imagine herself being married to someone else except him. With so much hesitation, Ibtihal wrote her first love letter, folded it carefully, and placed it in an envelope. It has been blessed with many kisses. She has even prayed over it. Then she has written her lover's hospital address. On the following day, early in the morning, she has gone to the post office and sent it to her handsome lover Dr. Samir. Chapter 5. The incredible news. A couple of weeks later, instead of getting the reply in writing, Dr. Samir called Ibtihal and invited her into his office again. This time he looked worried and a bit frightened. Without asking her to sit on a chair, her lover whispered a few words into her ear and asked her to go. From his words, she understood that he wants to meet her out of the hospital and discuss with her something important. She does not know where he is going to meet her, and when she should meet with him. His words just have kept ringing in her ears all the time. "I want to discuss with you something especially important, but not here. We should meet out of the hospital and talk. I cannot tell you more than this. Will you please go now to your place?" Those words revealed to Ibtihal that there is something bothering him a lot. Did she commit a crime by writing to him that love letter? Did she deceive herself all this time by believing that he loves her when he does not? Is he a married man? What troubled Ibtihal more is his mysterious promise of meeting her outside the hospital. He did not tell her where and when they have to meet. She does not know where he lives. Those questions and worries tormented Ibtihal day and night for a week. After 7 days she received in the mail a letter from Dr. Samir. In the letter he mentioned nothing about his love for her. Just in a few dry words, he said he wants to meet her on Thursday evening at the Grand Hotel restaurant. He did not mention what time exactly he wants her to come. What bothered her more is that the letter is not handwritten. He did not even mention or sign his name. He did not even mention her name. Despite that, Ibtihal knew the letter has come from her lover Dr. Samir. The following few words were typed on a white paper and sent to her through her college address. Will you please meet me on Thursday in the evening at the Grand Hotel restaurant? Please don't tell anyone about this meeting nor bring anyone with you. Why all this secrecy and why all these worries? Ibtihal, although she is so intelligent and brilliant girl, could not figure out why Dr. Samir did not want anyone to know about their meeting. He does not even want anyone to know that he wrote a letter to her. Whatever the reason behind his worries did not bother her much. What made her scared to meet him is her fear that he may reject her or deny his love for her. She would rather prefer to die before their meeting than hear something like that. Ibtihal could not imagine her life without him. It was Tuesday when Ibtihal received that letter. She counted the 48 hours that separated her from meeting her lover an hour after another hour. It is the most critical time in her life. As much as she enjoyed his love during those few months, she too suffered a lot because of that love. Something does not seem right in her love for him. Usually, in that primitive Muslim society, where love is still considered a crime and shame, the girl was supposed to behave the way Dr. Samir behaved towards his beloved Ibtihal. But she broke all social norms and behaved like a boyfriend towards his girlfriend. She took the initial step and revealed her love to him. On that Thursday evening, the clock has stopped, and the heart of Ibtihal has stopped beating for a few seconds when she seated herself near her first lover at the Grand Hotel restaurant and waited for him to pass the death or life sentence against their powerful love. After looking in all directions, and with a stammering voice Dr. Samir has whispered those words into the ears of Ibtihal whose shoulder is touching his shoulder. I love you too, Ibtihal. I never loved and I will never love a girl more than the way I love you. Me too, I cannot imagine my life without you. Ibtihal could not hide her joy when she heard those healing words. She turned her face towards him until their faces touched each other. Then she whispered softly, me too, I cannot live my life without you. I love you so much, Dr. Samir, and I want to spend the rest of my life as your wife. I know it, and I love you too. But I don't think this love is going to lead us into marriage. Why not? If you genuinely love me, then marry me. Ibtihal waited for his answer, and when she saw some tears flood his face, she said a bit loud, or you already have a wife. She even prepared to be his second wife. I am not married, and I don't think I will marry any girl after I met you. But Ibtihal, the law of this country will not allow us to get married. Ibtihal felt as if Dr. Samir spoke in a language that she could not understand. She waited for him to translate his words into a language that she could grasp. I hate to say this, but I have no choice. You are a Muslim girl, and I am a Christian man. It is unlawful for us in this country to get married. Despite that, I love you so much and I know you love me too, but we cannot get married. On hearing such an incredible news, Ibtihal felt as if the seat under her is sinking into a deep ocean of darkness. Her entire body is blazing like a fire. She began to sweat and shake from head to feet. When she tried to speak, her voice has failed her. As if her mouth has become sealed, her ears have gone deaf, and her entire body has become paralyzed. In those critical moments, her white angelic lover has turned into a black scary demon. Dr. Samir too has become extremely troubled. He thought that his beloved girlfriend Ibtihal has received a major heart attack or something worse has happened to her. Therefore he has quickly filled a glass of water and handed it to her. Ibtihal held the glass for a few seconds before all of a sudden it has dropped off her hand. At that very moment, her physical strength has failed her, and her unconscious body landed flat on the floor as if she got shot by a bullet in her head fired from a close range.